Who's your best bet for Thursday? Daryl, you go first.
Mighty Potter.
Jamie?
Stumptown.
I'm saying Lucia. I still think there's a little bit of value in this. So that's good. We're giving the lads a treble they can get stuck into. The Mighty Potter is going to win the Turners. There is an element of me that doesn't like the fact that he wasn't good at Cheltenham. Yes, I would have preferred that he ran well just because it alleviates that stuff, but I'm happy to forgive that stuff. I know how highly regarded this horse is. We talked about he was good value before. He should have been like a 6-4-ish poke even before he did what he did at the Dublin Racing Festival. He has now done that. Do I really think that he's like lump worthy type price at the 5-4-ish that he is now? I'd have to say no, but that doesn't mean that I don't think he's going to go and win. I just think that there is potential horses back in behind that are, I don't know, not necessarily capable of like ruining his race or beating him if he runs his best. But if he doesn't run up to his best, I think it might not be like he might not get away with it in here. I don't really like Banbridge, but he's got a bit of a chance. I still don't think Appreciate wants to run up in like the step up in trip, but he'll be fine, like jumping a bit slow, that sort of stuff. I just think the Mighty Potter should win this race. There's just that little element of uncertainty around me that like maybe Cheltenham will get to him, maybe it's the festival, that sort of stuff. But I'm relatively confident. When we talked about him before at 3-1, I told plenty of people to GSI, get stuck in. And it feels better personally to know that I've got a reasonable bet on him at 3-1 and he's now a 5-4 poke, which I could easily forecast. I know no one can predict the future, but I could easily forecast. And if he was 3-1 now, I'd be having chunks on him. The fact that he is the price that he is now, if you've not already got stuck in, then I don't want to put you off backing him because I do think he's going to win the race. But from a sensible head perspective, if you haven't already got stuck in, then I just wouldn't back anything against him. If you have already got stuck in, then count your money, basically. He's going to win, isn't he? Darryl, I sound like quite lukewarm now, don't I? I've been very bullish on him before. Are you much more confident than I am that he's still going to shit home?
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. God, I think it's that well to beating. I really do. I don't think it's that deep in behind him. I'm on Banbridge as well at bigger price, but I thought the race was set up at Leopardstown for Banbridge to finish well. So I know he wants 2.5 miles. He definitely wants 2.5 miles, but I don't like the ground is not enough for me to see him turn 18 lengths around.
He's not
Mighty Potter in the Drimore.
Yeah.
Like it's just not. Appreciate it. I really don't see the angle on why people want him to go up and trip. I just generally thought he was better. He was beaten by better horses on the day and in the Irish Arkle. So I don't see him improving at the age of 9 now for going up in trip for the first time in his entire career. I think he was he beaten in a 2.5 mile point to point as well, wasn't he?
Well, I think he won a 2.5 mile bumper, didn't he?
No, in a 2.5 mile point to point, he was beaten by Ian Violin.
He was beaten 11 lengths by Ian Violin, and then he won a bit of a Mickey Mouse one over 3 miles next time on heavy ground. But look, I just don't see. I've just never thought he's been that good. In all honesty, I tried to get him beaten his Supreme Novice days in the novice season, but there was nothing really to beat him. I thought it was a terrible Supreme he won. Look, he's a good horse, but for me, I just think that there is a Gold Cup horse in here in Mighty Potter. What he did in the final 100 yards of that DRF run was nothing short of remarkable. The way he powered away, just keep going back and watching it. It's watched the final 100 yards and he's gone, and it's unbelievable. Look, if he was a handicapper, the way he runs, you would say stick a pair of cheekpieces on him because he throws his head to the left and to the right, doesn't he? But I just don't see. I would be more concerned if Sir Gerhard come in there.
Mm-hmm.
And just because he's a fly in the ointment, he's
class, isn't he?
You know what I mean? So other than that, honestly, I really don't see what beats him. I don't.
Yeah, I agree. That's the reason why I'm like starting to get a little bit more nervous on him is the fact that I just think
I think that's what it is.
He runs shit. Yeah. But like again, the Appreciate stuff. Like I was never saying that he'd win an Arkle. It's just always a thing. Like I think he is a 2 miler. Anyway, couple of minutes left, Jamie. You've been the same as us. Like Mighty Potter hopefully just wins. Do you still really bullish? Can see anything can get close to him?
No, Dave. No. Like what he did visually and what we saw in Dublin Racing Festival was nothing short of incredible. And to me, he's the 2024 Gold Cup winner in my book. And I know we're getting nervous. We're on good tickets on him, and Jesus, will be quids in if he wins. And he's a really good horse. I'm not buying into this crap that about people saying, "Oh, just because you ran crap last year on the Supreme and all that." Like, but sure, he's grown up since then. Always going to fence, even if like sometimes he guesses at one, whatever, but like he still gets himself out of the way, gets himself over. And if he nips down his nose, he's still clever enough to
he's good.
get away with it. Do you know what I mean? Like, now
He's
you're going to have your heart in your mouth
significantly as
slightly.
well.
Oh, say it again, sorry.
He's improved. His jumping
Every run, he's
significantly as
improved
well.
all the time.
Yeah.
Well, that was the key thing with that Drinmore run. Like I said, like a horse like Banbridge was just outclassed in there. Like he just couldn't go. And I know the ground was against him as well, but like he just couldn't do it. Mighty Potter in there wasn't even jumping that great, but like every time he was like taking a length out of it, even when he was jumping bad. And then at the end, he just looked like he had tons left, like just a different level. And I do think as well, like the comment stuff, which doesn't matter too much, but the way like Jamie Codd talks about him, he's so defensive of that Supreme run last year that every time they bring it up, he just says he wasn't okay for Cheltenham. Yeah. He also said that no one in the yard thought that Gordon would run him at Punchestown because everyone thought that he wasn't okay. And then Gordon goes and does it. Like he wasn't the same horse at Cheltenham last year as he will be going into this year. So we'll leave that for Turners because Mighty Potter's going to win. I haven't even had that much on him, but I just feel like he's just one of them. You know, when you just know that there potentially is an absolute worldie, and you're almost petrified. Like you don't ever want to see him get beat, do you? I feel a little bit protected from Mighty Potter, but Mighty Potter wins the Turners, right?
Mighty Potter.
Race 2 on the Thursday is the PERTEMPS handicap hurdle, right? I did go into this one with a bit more of a deep dive. 2 reasons. 1, I really wanted to. I like to get excited about certain races. Number 2, I'm really getting annoyed, and I'm going to say this, and it's going to come back to bite me in the ass. I'm really getting annoyed with this October Cheltenham PERTEMPS qualifier and everyone creaming their pants over Shoot First, Botox has, other ones that were in there behind as well, with their Salvador Diggy, right? Salvador Ziggy, I can see a little bit in terms of the weights have been moved about, all those things. I do not think to win a PERTEMPS, you want a horse that's been laid off since fucking October. For me, it just massively shouts that they're just so ground dependent. A big bustily handicap like this type of race as well. Like I know there could be different types of class horses, but you need to know you've been at a race course. Like it's a brutal sort of war against it, right? I'm against quite a few horses in here, as opposed to really fancying something. The one that I have landed on that I am having an interest in, and I might wait till nearer the time. We obviously have the trend stuff from historically, right? But obviously things have changed on this. The qualifiers are now down to just 4 places, where the bands used to be like 136 to 148 as the types of horses that would get in. There's only 4 that can qualify, so that band's going to drop down, right? This, thanks for the help for David Pipe. I think he's only 128 rated, 134 plus it's been ever since for a long time to get in. He will get in because there's just not as many horses that are qualified. That Chepstow run, I think they put either cheek pieces, a tongue tie, they did something. He just absolutely shit home. And sometimes you just see a horse absolutely shit home, and you know that it's just like, not saying necessarily like a good horse, but you know it's just got something lined up. So he's the one that I've landed on this race. I'm just against Shoot First. I don't really buy into the fact they've laid it off, they've kept it fresh, that sort of stuff. Gavin Lynch tipped him up a while back as well. That's sort of moved the price a little bit. Salvador Ziggy, I think of the October ones, I would give more of a chance to, but I think he's just a proper good ground merchant. And I know this will be an early race on the Thursday. The ground sometimes, or often in this PERTEMPS race, actually is good ground, so that may work out for him. But I'm on. Thanks for the help. I haven't actually had any money on yet, but that's the one that I feel like I want to have a few quid on. But I don't care about this race as much as other people seem to do about it. Like, I don't know what it is about the qualification process where people seem to really pride themselves in trying to find the winner in this. So thanks for the help where I'm going with it. Jamie, have you unpicked the puzzle that is the PERTEMPS?
I've had a few bets in it, Dave, all right, but I mean, like, seriously, no, right? Like, going on about the British handicapper, right? I mean, like, where is he getting, right? The horse hasn't run since October. Salvador's again, Shoot First. Gives them official marks, keeps them the same 145 for Salvador's again, 137 for Shoot First. And then all of a sudden, mystically, fucking Merlin comes along and puts £2 more extra. I'm like, what is he playing, fantasy football or something? What is wrong with him? Like this is ridiculous. Like, That £2, if he gets beaten by a neck, I literally will like fucking go bananas, like because of the £2 he's put on him for sitting in his box. I mean, like seriously, it's ridiculous. It's just like trying to handicap the Irish horses out of it. It's ridiculous. I don't know where he's after getting the £2 from, like. But I mean, like that's after putting me off him now, in a way. But I have loads of bets on him, obviously. But I'm like you. It was like that year when everyone told me because he won the last qualifier thing at Doncaster at the time, called the cops, and he won the race. And all of a sudden, then he went like, "Thanks for the help." Like, thanks for the help. We came over to Punchestown last year, and he was well fancy. He was so well handicapped. I couldn't believe he got a shit ride in Broomfield Hall. I think won the race or something like that.
Yeah.
In the novice handicap EBF final thing they have over here. Sorry. But like I like that little win. He absolutely, I agree with you today. He absolutely pissed him, and exactly what you're saying. He's going like years ago. He wouldn't have got in, but now because he's won the race, I think it's perfect timing. The time is fantastic, and he has a right chance. Yeah, I think the horse that you picked in the DRF that won per Sevelago, well, I think he's after handing himself out of it by far. How far he won. I suppose the forgotten horse is Maxim, but Jesus, lads, I thought he was dog shit like in the DRF. He was like, walking in there. I thought he'd get more for his run at Exeter. I like that horse. You know, I like that horse. Got £5 for Exeter. I think he liked the good ground. I think he liked the fast pace. I give him a squeak. The other horse I give him a squeak to, who was crying out for 3 miles, won at Cheltenham in December, is another one of Nicky Henderson's, is Captain Morgs. Give him £7 last day for 7. I think he's a right chance. I think he's a really good horse, Captain's Morgs, and the 3 miles he's the best of him. And maybe he might, if he wins, he might step up further in grade. Do you know what I mean? Like a potential with him. But you have to say that thanks for the head is very well handicapped off 128, and I think he's a right chance, and he'd be my selection. Yeah, thanks for the help.
I like it, and the Maxim race as well. Like I think we all probably got drawn into backing Maxim because
we did.
The PERTEMPS stuff, and like you almost couldn't let him go unbacked. Maybe that's why he went off his favourite. It was a curious run, wasn't it? But a lot of people even then said that race at the DRF was worth more than Cheltenham. And I know there's a prestige when it comes to Cheltenham, but like that Percival leg was like he didn't need to put his weight up like they have in previous years to get in. He was already in. So I feel like he's had his day in the sun. Darryl, what do you think of it? Because sorry, go on, Jane.
It's the one race actually, Dave. When you want about the qualifiers and the way it's gone, the way they've changed it. If you ran this race 3 or 4 times or 10 times, you could have a different winner every time. There's so many. It's actually there's a bit of depth of it now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's another horse I didn't mention. I'm probably the whole field on probably mentioning, but. Good time, Johnny. I see a lot of people kind of putting up like it won the 3 mile handicap on the card of what Purcell Lagalwa won. He's been crying out like he's been campaigned at the wrong trip all year. So it could be Tony Martin's stroke. Like I can see him being well backed on the day. I would say that, but there's so many in here. It's frightening, really, compared to years ago.
That's it, Darryl. Have you whittled it down to anything? Because there's plenty of talk. There's plenty you can make a case for. I think there's always is the case in the PERTEMPS. Is there one that you're keen on?
Yeah, Maxim.
Ooh.
Yeah, I really like him. I really like him. I think he's turned a huge corner since joining Gordon Elliott. Obviously won at Navan, bolting up by 9 lengths, then won at Leopardstown, winning the qualifier, winning by 16 lengths. I don't care that he's won a qualifier. It's a different sort of system this year. Yeah, the time he did at Leopardstown there was much faster than Home by the Lee. It was much faster than Deep Cave. On the card, Deep Cave's rated 135. I don't think 145 will stop him winning this race. I thought he, potentially could have gone to the Stayers hurdle. Really, I think he's that good. I think he's that progressive. The last run at the DRF, I thought it was very like they backed him. They backed him into 7-4, right? And because basically he was getting a claim that Kieran Quirk was taking £7 off, right? So he's effectively running off 131, which is Irish, which is his Irish mark, but he, much lower in the weights there than he would have been for this, and that obviously was worth more money than this. But the ride he was given, he was tucked away on the inside. He just got no room to manoeuvre. He couldn't get out anywhere. He sort of nearly clipped heels with something on the bend into the home straight. Pulled himself out wide. The race had just got away from him, and he was just eased home under hand and heels. That race, that Percival Legwar who won that race, that was the slowest handicap across the entire 2 days. Like it was favoured anything ridden towards the front, so you could upgrade a couple that came from the rear, like Gatsby Gray, who for some reason Oliver McKernan places horses terribly. Like he places horses like there's a longer term plan, but that's a whole nother story. But anyway, it was a very, very slowly run race. That's why I could not have Percival Legois, who is now shorter in the betting than Maxim, despite being miles behind Maxim when he actually got a clear run in the PERTEMPS qualifier. I think if there's a graded horse in the race, it could be Maxim. I do fear Shoot First because I think he's got a good bit in hand. I thought he won really well back in October. They're just protecting the mark. That's all they're doing. So yeah, I'll give a small squeak to Captain Morgs as well, who's unexposed at the trip and had the cheek piece feed. Nicky Henderson's horses, by the way, always run really well at the Cheltenham Festival. But that's it. Those are the horses I like. I'm not. Thanks for the help, right? We backed him, Dave, didn't we, when he went over to Punchestown because we had the Shane Fitzgerald angle, didn't we? Right on the JP horses. But I remember being at Wincanton when I backed this horse to beat Honor de Jonc at Wincanton, and that was over 2 miles. But he dogged it. He absolutely dogged it that day. Look, he might be a completely different horse. Obviously, he's unexposed at this sort of trip. That was 2 miles, but I don't know. I still can't forgive him for that. So
yeah, I do hear you with that. But that's why the Chepstow run was like it felt good because of the fact that he did absolutely go and dot up. Right, so selection for that. I'm still sticking with thanks for the help, Jamie.
Thanks for the help, yeah.
Maxim for Daryl. Right, let's move on to the Ryanair. This one's definitely one we can do quickly because it was lovely to see Shishkin back when it's a weak renewal of the Ryanair, given the fact that Adaho's not here. There's just no depth in behind it. I know I put a couple up at prices in here, but I don't think there's too much that needs to be said. Like, I'm not worried about a bounce factor or any of those types of things. Like, I just think Shishkin shits home. Jamie, what do you think of it?
It was like last year, Dave. I repeat myself. Alaho shits in, and Janadil will come in each way second. It's the same this year. Shishkin will win, and Janadil will finish second. Move on.
Do you know the best part of it is? I'm going to crop this one because I love how angry you get about that races like this that are that plain and simple to do. You're so deadpan. You're like, why are you even fucking asking me? Because you know what the answer is. Darryl, it's that simple.
Am I not serious, am I?
It's the same, though, Darryl.
Yeah. Shishkin followed by Janadil and Envoy Allen will probably squeak in a third.
Controversial, but we'll stick with that. Right, let's move on to the race that's probably going to maybe. I hope it doesn't take the longest to talk about, but there's so many horses that we could go back and forth talk about things.
Rant number 2 coming here
for you.
Yeah.
All right, well, I might let you lead it then. So my take on this, we've been through this race multiple times. It's pretty much the same as when we talked about it in Christmas time, wasn't it? I think Marie's Rock, if she runs, has got a proper chance. I know she hasn't really proven the stamina stuff.
That's the next one. Sorry.
I think it's a weak enough one. I think she's got a chance. I still do think that Classical Dream's got a squeak as well. It sounds like David Case said that he's going to run. It's again, it would have to be a bad one if we're going to go and win. I don't like the Tiapu Blazing Carl at the front of the market. Either of them, I just think they're both hands. We'll see. We'll see with Blazing Carl. I'm definitely being overly harsh on him. He would be place laid for me if he runs. But again, I don't know. Maybe it's more me just trying to back the opinion than anything else. I love how annoyed you get with it, Darryl, as well, because you really fancy him. There's news today, apparently, isn't there? Charles Burns said that he cut his leg and he's missed some training and he might not make Cheltenham. How does that make you feel, Darryl? Do you think Blazing Carl still wins?
It's bollocks. It's like, what? There has been no news for the RP to produce today, and they come out with that. What a load of rubbish! What a load of rubbish.
So he wins then?
Blazing Cow. Honestly, 17 last 27, won by second season hurdlers. Him arrives at after a career best run on the back of a long break, beating meet and greet. That meet and greet, I would have fancied him for this race, but that he ties in with a lot of these. 164 RPR last time. There's loads more to come through. Loves the course, no ground worries. Improving horse. I think there's loads to like about him, so I'm with him. I will just give a quick shout to Side the Burley because I keep banging this drum, and he's 100-1. That is absolutely insulting for a horse that won a Grade 1 at Aintree last year, beating Flora and Porter. He's a spring horse, loves Cheltenham, fabulous record in Cheltenham. You could take 9 out of the market in front of him. Sharjah, so Gerhard, Hewick, Buzz is not running. Saint Sam probably won't run now. Beacon Hedges go for a handicap. You could take all of those horses. Goshen's definitely not going to run in there. Langadam won't run in there. Somerville Boy won't run in there. You could take all of those horses out. He's 100-1. He's definitely worth a small each way play.
Fair enough. I love it as well because I like how passionate you now get, the same as I do, about these value losers. Because we're not even saying that we can make a strong case.
Yeah, but like,
just
it's
the wrong
not
price, isn't they?
Yeah, but it's not just that. It's like it's not out of the realms of possibility that he
No,
runs.
exactly,
This is
yeah.
a crap race, really, isn't it? Like, I know, like, you could say, like, oh, well, it's a lot better than it was. It is, but if Marie's Rock's not in here, I don't think Tahipu stays. I think he wants deep ground. I can't have Home by the Lee. God knows what's going on with Flora and Porter. Classical Dream, not for me. Ashdale Bob, like these, like, it's not out of the realms of possibility that he's in the first three, is it?
No,
Like,
I agree. Yeah, and it's not out of the realms of possibility that he goes and wins the race either. Like, it's not
Exactly.
It's not 100 to 1 chance, is it? Run the race 100 times, he probably could pick one up. Jamie, this wasn't the race you wanted to get annoyed in. Maybe we have wound you up a little bit. Like, who do you fancy? Like, are you the Blazing Carl camp as well?
I was, yeah, I was, and I was delighted. I'm in a nice price in him. But I will say, if Marie's Rock runs here, she'll shit home. I think she'll win easy. But there's no horse in this field, because exactly what you're saying. It's that crap, right? That the fact matters. There's no horse in this field that'll give her £7.
Yeah, and that's the crucial part, isn't it? Nothing can give it away.
It's not a hope in hell. And look,
do you know who the last mare was to win this race?
Mm-hmm.
And do you know when it was? Shula in 1993.
I know, and I know, and Annie Power was beating him, wasn't she? But Annie Power won a champion hurdle.
And Apples, Jay.
I said it. Didn't win
but Marie's Rock's not a 2-miler, is she? She's got a chance. Not many go for it, do they? You love winding us up, right? So, right, I feel like we need to get off the stairs hurdle quick, because I feel like we're about to hit the oblivion of doom. I'm saying that I still give Classical Dream a little bit of a squeak. Blazing Carl's an absolute place. Like, won't even finish the race. Jamie?
Marie's Rock for me, but if Blazing Cal wins, I'll be very, very happy. But it's definitely Marie's Rock for me. Yeah.
And then, Daryl, yours is the same as it'll be every single day for the rest of our lives.
Blazing Cow inside the Bell H-Way.
Until that horse retires, every time you ride side of Bell H-Way, please. That would do me, thank you. Right, we'll move on. Jamie, this sounds like the one that you were getting animated about, and so animated that you wanted to jump in a race early for it. I'm trying to work out what's winding you up in the play. Daryl told us a long time ago that So Scottish would win this. Is it because you missed the price? Yeah. That's what's winding you up. I feel like he's been a little bit.
I didn't miss the price.
Not nicely treated, is he? I don't. There's nothing in this race that I would get excited about that I'd want to back, and I feel like I've missed the price on So Scottish. I actually got to the point where I'm seeing people are tipping Iron Maximus. The horse with the gangly legs is winding me up something rotten. Feels like a fantastic ass all over again. Like that horse can't even run, let alone jump a fence. I'm starting to think that Kilcrit's got an outside chance, so I've got no idea what I'm talking about. What's winding you up more than me fancying Kilcrit?
The handicapper was out with the wand again, like the top of your head, Harry Potter. The wand, £5 Where's he after getting shitting out the £5 out of his arse to try to get fucking Scots Connors beaten? I'm like, come on,
handicap at all, did he?
I know, yeah, exactly. I'm like, where's he getting the £5 from? The horse got the mark in England, UK of 138, and obviously he's put £5 on it. What? Again, if he fucking gets beaten ahead, I will actually lose my fucking shit. I will, like. I'll go nuts. But anyway, the only other horse, obviously, we mentioned a horse, Dave, earlier in the Ultimate. Fastest Logos here, I would give him a chance, but is he better handicapped than Suscottish? Very much doubt it. The one horse I really fancy here, and I see he's well being backed, and I've put in my head since last year, when it fluffed the fucking start in the Grand Annual, and has form tied in. He was in that race the last day, wasn't he, with Grey Diamond? I give Frere Bamboo a right chance in there. And I think it's not because it's one on heavy ground. I think Frere Bamboo needs good ground. And the way he won there, 2 mile handicap there yonks ago back at Sandown, he sluiced in over 2 miles. I think he's crying out for the step up and trip, and his mark is 135. If he gets in, I think he might just scrape in down the bottom. I think he's a massive each way bet against So Scottish, yeah. So it will be So Scottish to win and for Bamboo each way for me.
Fair enough. Dazzler, this hopefully will be quite quick with it, because just So Scottish, you're still confident in him, are you?
Yeah. I think I wouldn't worry about the £5. He used Emmett used Jordan Gameford, didn't he, for the shunter? He can't claim anymore, actually, can he? But they'll probably use Michael O'Sullivan money.
Probably Michael O'Sullivan, yeah.
Yeah,
Mikey
he
O'Sullivan.
took the ride, didn't he, last time to claim him 5 off.
Yeah.
So if he gets another 5 of his back, I'm telling you now, this won't be this won't be beat. This can't be beat, surely. This has got if Michael O'Sullivan claims 5 off, puts him off that, puts him back on 138. He's surely got at least 10 in.
But wasn't he claiming though the last day though, Daryl? He was claiming, doesn't he?
Wasn't he was £3 out the handicap, wasn't he?
A £3 out the handicap doesn't make a difference. Yeah.
And he was running over the wrong trip the last day as well.
He was. He just crying up for 2.5 miles. No.
So look, I think he's Novice's got a great record. They win 62% of handicap chases at the festival over the last 5 years. I think he's got a great chance. Been laid out for the race. Obviously, JP's picked him up. Yep, I think he'll go off shorter than 4-1. I think he'll go off about 11 or 4. So it'll do for me. The one I just fear is That's All Right, Gino. I think he's got a good each way to speak. He doesn't want to go right hand. He wants to go left hand. He ran a blinder behind Stage Star, despite not being favoured by the shape of the race. So I think he's got a good chance off 145. He's improving. So I might just have a small each way bet on him, but or just a place only bet on him maybe. But I think So Scottish is I think it'll take a while to beat him, Dave.
Happy days. So he's the sort of horse that we can stick in lots of multiples across the week because he's a reasonable price already, and we'll hoover up that value. Just on That's All Right, Gino, he's a horse that I can't seem to get right. Like, I gave him no chance the last day when he ran at Cheltenham. He did run a good race. I can't have him. Let's move on to the Mayor's Novice because we can.
That's unnecessary, wasn't it?
I want to give him a dig because when he pulls up and everyone again like an Iron Maximus, a lot of people are going to start tipping That's All Right, Gino, and they're wrong. Mayor's Novice's hurdle, right? 450. This is a race that when it started, it was easy, wasn't it? If it's trained by Willie Mullins and it starts with the letter L, it wins. If we go back to that old logic, Lots of Joy is going to go and win this. 5-year-olds do well in the race as well. Like, there's lots of trendy stuff. I'm literally saying letters of names as a trend, but Lots of Joy has a tiny bit of an outside squeak. I do think that Lucia is like worlds above anything else in here. And as much as Astro Diamond's got some form over in Ireland, she's running grade ones against behind the boys, all that sort of stuff. She hasn't been going and beating tons of horses, is she? Like, even the Facile Vega run at Christmas, like, well, it's all well and good coming third behind that, but potentially that's not even that great a run, is it? We said about what we thought with LFA Thompson there. She's making the market more for the fact that Lucia is still a 6-4 plate. You can get 2-1 on the exchange with Lucia. I'd make her shorter than that. Like, I think if she's anything bigger than even money, that's the wrong price. I think she hacks up. I think she's a proper mare. I reckon she just wins. So can one of you two talk me out of Lucia? Darryl, I'll let you go first.
She's just a bit of a horrendous price, really, isn't she? I know she's a good horse and that, and I had her running the highest figures of any of these until Night and Day ran at Clonmel, and I'm going to take a chance with Night and Day. I've been searching through. I don't know if you'll know off the top of your head, but I can't remember the last horse that Willie Mullins put into a grade 1 on her first start. And I don't know if you can. I went back through loads. Like, there was plenty going into grade 2s. Constantista ran in this race, I think, on her first start. But
didn't 5 for 3 won the Ballymore first time out? Didn't he? I think he did, didn't he? I might be wrong. I think 5 for 3 won the Ballymore that year.
Either way, like, I think that's a very positive sign. She was beaten 96 lengths by Branded Up, but she did travel really nicely until 3 out and then just blew up. She's a huge stamp of a mare. That run came off a hell of a long layoff, so you just expect her to blow up there. 646 days she was off the track there, just blew up, right? She went to Clonmel and she absolutely hacked up. Like, it was deep ground. She has got a bit of a knee action. She might want some rain, but the time was really good, much faster than Gaelic Warrior. She did it in no more than a hat canter. She won by 22 lengths. The third is a horse called Circus Act. Now, this is low form, but don't forget, this horse has been beaten 22 lengths. Rated 113 now after going to Hereford and winning and then going close at Doncaster in the Novice Hurdle next time. But the point being is that she looked seriously good. She jumped well. She's got such a high cruising speed. She could be anything. And just the fact that she's recording an RPR of 140 last time out is very interesting. And she's almost certainly going to improve from that because that came off the back of 240 days off and she looked quite burly there. So I don't think Lucia is miles and miles clear. I think she's probably the most likely winner, but this Night and Day doesn't get a penalty. Obviously, she's in receipt of £5 from the two at the top of the market, and I just have a sneaky feeling that Paul Townend might ride her. So I think she'll shorten up quite a bit on the day. So I'm going to take a chance on her about 7-1.
Fair enough. Still not putting me off Lucia. Jamie, Lucia wins, right?
Daryl's after stealing my thunder. Yeah, is the only danger to Night and Day. Sorry, to Lucia is Night and Day. I remember I said to you at the start of the season that I really fancy this horse, Night and Day. I think it's the only danger. I think, and I agree with Daryl. Paul Townend will ride her because Patrick Mullins will probably ride Astro Diamond. Astro Diamond, I suppose the form is there. Would like the good ground, but like to me, the only danger to Lucia is Night and Day, and I'm going to take the chance as well. And it's 7-1 each way, Night and Day.
Happy days. Well, we'll stick with that. He's still not putting me off Lucia. I mean, it is the Mayor's Novice. It's only so bullish we can get. I just remember the days when you had like the Liminies, the Let's Dance, the Lorenas. Like they just shit home, didn't they? I know we've had a few of them recently where it's not been like it, but there could be some depth in behind, couldn't there? Like it's a newish race. Maybe some owners and stuff are trying to get horses towards it. I don't think it is. I think it's just stand out with Lucia wins. Right, let's move on to the Falkland win. MUIR. This is a race that I struggle with every single year. I really thought Mr. Coffey had won it last year, but let's be honest, I backed an absolute dog in a race. Mr. Incredible, after his run at Warwick, was the horse that was on my radar for this. Haven't been doing the anti-post betting, so didn't back him. I think he's got in okay, with only £3 higher, but like you say, Jamie, just given a few pounds for sitting in his box over there, wasn't he? It was 144, he was rated, and then he's just been chucked up another pound for the sake of it. I think he's got him this week. Am I right? Johnny Deneen put him up in the ante, didn't he, for the 4 miler? Interesting within that it's now here for like a mark of 142, because there's not that much of a dissimilar type race, this MUIR and the National Hunt Chase. I do think that Mr. Incredible's got a bit of a chance. This Stumptown sort of appeared out of nowhere. George messaged in the group the other day saying, have you seen this horse? Told us that I think Derek O'Connor was confirmed as riding that one. And then I just saw it just getting absolutely smashed up. The sad thing about it all as well is that Your Own Story was the one that I was talking about being like the new Karatz Rambler, wasn't I? And I've been stung on him a few times. I backed him today as well when I was writing a column. I backed him. I think I backed him at, I want to say 5-2, then the second favourite got pulled out. So he went into 2.6 in the exchange. He went off at 3 on the exchanges. Went in short after the first couple of jumps, he was keen, but then he went up to like 4 or 5 to 1 in running. So I thought I was stuffed. Did a little bit of trading, so I ended up like, I made some money because obviously he won the race, but I just threw some profit away. But the form there has just gone and been franked a little bit after. So I don't feel like it's the same as So Scottish, but I do feel like Stumptown's one of these sort of handicap horses now that you'd struggle to really want to put people off backing him at the price, but I don't know if I want to back him at the 4-1. So I'm lukewarm on the race. It's one that I don't really get too excited about anyway. I've had it wrong so many years in the past when you hear the hype horse that comes up. So I don't know if I want to get stuck into Stumptown. Darryl, what do you make of it? Is there one that you had on your sort of radar? Is there anything recently that's made you feel like you want to back something?
Not really. I like Mr. Incredible. I've liked him for a long time, haven't I? I've always thought he was a talented horse. I backed him off the boards to beat a horse in Europe at Newbury that day. He's obviously turned the corner. I remember Willie Mullins doing an interview saying they were saying he's quite a quirky horse, and Willie Mullins said, "Well, he's not no more, not with us. He's quiet as a lamb, sort of thing. Does everything right." So I think there's lots of progression to come in him. I would just stick with him. I'd fear Angel's Dawn and Stumptown. It wouldn't be one of my more confident races to have a good whack in, but I will be backing Mr. Incredible.
Happy days. Jamie, do you like anything in here? Is there something we should be keeping an eye on?
No, Stumptown will win.
Happy days. I mean, I know we like to get stuck into these ones, don't we? But like, that's it. That's all I want to hear. Go on, back it up.
Stumptown is owned by a friend of mine. He owns a bar here in Tralee. So, and the other owner owns one of the waste disposal crowds in Tralee here, where I'm from. And I'm telling you now, this horse will win, and nothing will beat him.
I didn't understand a word of that.
Friend of mine, he owns a pub here in Tralee, and the other fella owns the waste disposal crowd in Tralee, like do the bins, like, because it's all privatised here. Gary Dillon's his name, and he they brought him over to Sandown, and that's the reason why they brought him over to Sandown. And see, get his UK mark. They give him another £8. And he's improved every time he's jumping. He's laid out. He's crying out for the trip. He won at Limerick that day. I met them when my horse won there at Limerick. He won the race afterwards. He won the 2 mile maiden hurdle. They didn't think he was going to win that day, and he won. I'm telling you now, this horse will win, and he'll win easy.
Happy days. Right, so we got a day of that, haven't we? We potentially got the old So Scottish, we got Stumptown, we got Mighty Potter to get stuck into. Lucia's going to shit home. Shishkin shits home in the Ryanair. Thursday looks easy, doesn't it? So on that bombshell, who is your best bet for the Thursday? And obviously we could say about the most confident one, but I want to know who's your best bet for Thursday. Darryl, you go first.
Mighty Potter.
Jamie?
Stumptown.
I'm saying Lucia. I still think there's a little bit of value in this. So that's good. We're giving the lads a treble they can get stuck into.